What's going on, everybody? It's Keegan here. I'm back with another video once again, and it's time for another movie review video. Anyways, we're going to be talking about two movies this time. Two of these I saw in theaters recently. One of them, an old movie from '07 that I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while, and the other I saw is a brand new one that came out last week. So let's talk about it. So the first film we're going to talk about today is There Will Be Blood, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who also wrote the film, and it's based on the novel Oil by Upton Sinclair. Paul Thomas Anderson is the same director of movies like Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, Licorice Pizza, and a couple of other movies. And he actually has a new movie coming out at the end of the month titled One Battle After Another, which I'm really looking forward to checking out. Now, this was actually the very first Paul Thomas Anderson movie I ever watched. I was 14 at the time when I watched it, and I really, really liked it. And I've seen it a few times before in the past, and I actually recently watched it again at the Metro about last Monday. And holy shit, seeing this movie in theaters was an amazing experience. And I've actually been wanting to talk about this movie on the channel for quite some time, but never gotten around to doing it for some reason. But after watching it in theaters a week ago, it's time. I figured it's time. Now is the time for me to talk about the film. And this film is regarded as one of Paul Thomas Anderson's best films and one of the greatest movies of the century, and one of the best films from the 2000s, and for good reason. It's very well made. It's well acted. And Daniel Day-Lewis delivers, in my opinion, the best performance of his career. Well, more on that later. So this film takes place in the early 1900s, and it follows a man named Daniel Plainview, who is played by Daniel Day-Lewis. Now, Daniel is a former coal miner turned oil prospector who travels across America searching for oil, searching for lands that are rich with oil, and buying the properties of those that are oil rich in order to get rich and defeat all of his competitors. And then he goes to California, into one specific town in California that's rich on oil, and he convinces the townsfolk for him to buy their land to get the oil. When a preacher starts to suspect Daniel's lies and deceiving those in the town, and so the two are at each other's throats. And Daniel has a son named HW who he uses as a bit of a bargaining chip to gain the town's trust and such. And without giving away too much, that's basically what the story of this film is about in a nutshell. As I mentioned before, this film is regarded as one of P.T. Anderson's best movies, and for good reason. It's totally up there with Boogie Nights, Magnolia, just to name a few. The acting in this film is really, 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 really good. Like, this movie has some of the best acting I've ever seen in a film. And the cinematography and the set designs look really, really, really good. Not to mention the cinematography is beautiful. The music is really good. And there is not 1 minute of this 2 hour and 38-minute long runtime of the film where it drags on. I think the runtime is perfectly justified for this film. And this movie has one of the best endings I have ever seen in a film. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you've seen this movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen There Will Be Blood, definitely check it out. It's one of the best films ever made. And it's an interesting character study, too. It really shows how greedy some people can get and how much ambition and sacrifices they're willing to make to achieve their goals. And Daniel Plainview has got to be one of the best written characters from any film, period. And Daniel Day-Lewis does an amazing job playing the main character. I don't think any other actor could play him better, personally. And Daniel Day-Lewis actually, I think he actually won Best Actor at the Oscars for his performance back in '08. I think he did, but I can't remember. I think he did, though. And as for seeing this movie in theaters has got to be one of the best movie going experiences I've ever had. Everyone was quiet during the movie except a couple giggles here and there, which that was fine. And just wow. I'd say seeing this movie in theaters is the best way to watch this movie. And not gonna lie, my heart started pounding at the end of the movie, like at the very final scene of the movie, because I knew what was gonna happen. I'm not gonna spoil it, of course, but if you've seen this movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But overall, seeing this movie in theaters was just outstanding. It's the best way to watch this movie. So I don't really have too much else to add. There Will Be Blood is one of the best films of the century, and without a doubt a film that everyone should watch at least once, especially if you're someone that's getting into movies. This would be a good one to start with. In fact, when I first watched this movie, I was 14 and I was slowly starting to get into cinema more and more, eventually becoming the very cinephile that I am to this day. And yeah, this was definitely a great one for beginners, for those wanting to get into cinema more and more. But other than that, fantastic movie. Anyways, I'm giving There Will Be Blood a 10 out of 10. And the last film we're going to talk about in this video is the new Darren Aronofsky film, Caught Stealing, which came out last Friday, and I saw it in theaters the day after it came out. I saw it with one of my best friends growing up, and it was pretty good. It's not Darren Aronofsky's best movie, but I thought it was pretty good, and it was fun to watch. Now, Darren Aronofsky is the same director of films like Black Swan, Requiem for a Dream, Pi, Mother, which was a really weird one, The Wrestler, and his previous film, The Whale, which I talked about back in season 5. Yeah, it was back in season 5 when I talked about that movie. Now Darren Aronofsky normally directs a lot of drama films and films that are, you got to be in the right mood to be watching them because they aren't really exactly happy movies, sort of like Michael Haneke a little bit. But this new film is something completely different. This is a crime comedy that he directed, and I think he also wrote it. So it's nice to see him do something completely different from what he normally does. I saw it in theaters with my friend. I said that already, and I thought it was pretty good. We'll quickly go through the story, and then we'll get into my thoughts on it, because the story is very simple. So this film takes place in New York City in the year 1998. It follows a former baseball player named Hank, played by Austin Butler. Now, Hank is living the normal life in New York City. He is a burned out baseball player who lost the ability to play baseball after getting into a really bad car accident, which messed up his leg. So now he's working at a bar, betting money on the baseball games. He's got a girlfriend. He's got a good friend who tasks him with taking care of his cat while he's away. So Hank agrees to take care of the cat, and it all seems simple. Just take care of the cat, feed the cat, give the cat water, play with the cat, clean up the litter box, and it all seems so simple. But one day, while our hero is kitty sitting, two Russian thugs try to break into his friend's apartment. And little does Hank know he's about to get caught up with the criminal underground between some Jewish mobsters, some Russian thugs, and a crooked police officer. And they're all after one thing, and it's something that Hank's friend has in his apartment. So Hank is trying to do everything in his power to survive and not get killed, pretty much. It's a very simple plot. You probably can guess where it goes from here, and without giving away too much, that's basically what the story is about. Now I enjoyed Caught Stealing. It was a nice change up for Darren Aronofsky, who usually directs some really dramatic and sometimes weird movies. It's nice for a little change up for him doing a dark, gritty crime comedy. And the casting in this movie is good, and I thought everybody did a pretty good job with their performances. And it was funny at times. It's got a pretty good soundtrack, and it's pretty violent too. Although not the most violent I've ever seen, but still fairly violent. And while it's not exactly a great film, it's not a masterpiece, and it's not Aronofsky's best film by a long shot. But this was still a film that I really enjoyed and had a lot of fun seeing in theaters with my friend. It definitely has its flaws. For starters, the story isn't anything new. It's something that's been done before over and over again. You got a guy or a gal who can't catch a break, getting caught up in all sorts of shit that they shouldn't be getting caught up with. I mean, it happens. It's hard to do something original these days. But I still thought it was a fun movie to watch. And the pacing, I thought the pacing was good. And yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about this movie. I enjoyed it. Although it's not the best movie from Darren Aronofsky, but I personally really enjoyed it, and it was nice to see him do something different for once. But hey, every director should experiment with every genre possible. Like if you're a horror director, you should try doing something different, like say maybe do a drama, do a comedy or something. And yeah, it's always nice to see when a director takes a step out of their comfort zone and try experimenting with other genres. But other than that, if you like Darren Aronofsky's movies, you might like this one. I thought this one was pretty fun. And yeah, I had a lot of fun seeing this one in theaters with my friend. Anyways, I don't have anything else to add, so I'm giving Caught Stealing a 7 out of 10. Well, there you guys have it. That's going to be the end of another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, comment below, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos. But in the meantime, thanks again for watching. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you guys later. Take it easy, guys. Peace. Bye-bye.